Let's look at 4 big reasons why Tesla should make a Tesla trailer rather than a pickup as its next vehicle. First of all, let's step back and look at a few things in context. The majority of people use the bed of a pickup less than 10% of the time. I'm a contractor, and even I use the bed of my pickup only about 20-25% of the time. Secondly, the ecological aspect of transportation comes from conserving energy. And when you only need a storage or utility space 10-20% of the time, in many cases 5% of the time, it doesn't make sense to lug the space around the other 95% of the time. The third thing is that a Tesla trailer doubles the value of all the existing Tesla vehicles for anyone that needs to do additional storage, road trips, construction, this type of thing. And the split can be seen, for example, right now with my wife, who wants a Tesla for the safety reasons and is really only going to be driving it probably an average of 1,500 miles a year. We go on vacation 6 months of the year. It's going to sit around, etc., a lot of the time. And so, the question comes in justifying 2 vehicles, particularly when Tesla doesn't have a pickup right now. The Rivian is also, looks like it'll launch sooner and is a great $70,000 pickup. Fabulous. But this is where a Tesla trailer really shines in the conservation of energy. If you've ever watched the Tesla factory where they, stamp out aluminum borders and with robots assemble a car, you understand that cars are incredibly intricate. And so, of course, they're slow production lines. But a trailer can literally be clamped together in less than an hour and really easily. And I'm going to get into it. I've actually made a video, that goes into some of the design features that can make a completely different. We're looking at a 10x trailer, something that's 10 times better than any trailer on the market. And there's an opportunity for that, disruption. But we've already seen in Europe that there's an intelligent preference for small trailers and cars, which is why Tesla now offers a tow package on the Model 3 only in Europe. Now, if you can add a relatively low-cost trailer to your existing vehicle at any time, it significantly enhances the value of the vehicle with just a few thousand extra in cost. But something that's just as important is how big the market segment is going to be for autonomous trailers and autonomous pods. And I'm in the construction business, but if you take, for example, Amazon, would Amazon deliver its products using autonomous pods if they were available today? Absolutely. If Amazon had access to an autonomous fleet today that had the safety features of a Tesla, it would be saving hundreds of millions of dollars in delivery. And because, and my point is, this is a big segment of the market, autonomous deliveries. Now, Amazon is talking about drones as a delivery option. There are a number of problems with drone deliveries, safety hazards, battery drainage, heavier boxes, etc. But one of the things that I think we may see happen is have autonomous pods that can share, that can be autonomously loaded and unloaded, that can transfer materials. So you'd have, larger semi-fleets come in on a convoy where, at least for the foreseeable future, there'd be a driver in the first truck, but maybe you have eight trailers coming in a semi, and then you'd have autonomous pods, which are basically, this basic concept of this trailer that I'm outlining here, meet the semis and be loaded semi-manually or fully autonomously, from the semi and make their deliveries. And you might see a drone that can self-charge on the roof as one of the methods for bringing the box to the delivery area. I think each client would specify a GPS coordinate, at the house where they want their packages delivered, and whether it's you have the option of a robotic arm in some cases. You have the option of a drone that can lift up the package, move it, and drop it, and take a photo of that location. I think people are much less resistant to the idea of a short, 20-foot drone flight where they're aware of it than they are of, packages flying overhead and clouding views, etc. Above. We haven't gotten this point yet, but there will also be robotic delivery assistants whose job will be to identify a package by barcode and, make their way to the GPS location. But there is going to be a huge need for this. But even before that, if we take lumber yards, for example, in my business, where you want 22 by 6s, this, that, the other, and you want them at the job site at this location, all the hassle is in the drive time, and taking time off work and going and getting it. Having a autonomous delivery vehicle that can be met at both locations is instantly available right now. Meaning right now, if there was an autonomous pod or an autonomous trailer that was summonable by all the delivery centers, they would be used today in as simple as I would place on my app an order for what I want, and either the lumberyard would send out an autonomous pod, or I would send my autonomous trailer to the lumberyard to be, cleared and loaded. The whole thing would be, videoed and photoed, and it would return to the job site with the material. So this is a huge segment. The commercial segment of transportation is the biggest segment, and it's intelligent to use autonomous delivery in this format. But what I want to look at is just how fast and cheap this can be done, because the first thing to look at is when people are not in these pods, you don't have the safety requirements that you have even with a pickup. And if you have a pickup, you're creating an incredibly luxurious, because you've got the good tires, because you're riding in it, and you've got great suspension because you're riding in it. You've got, very fine finishes because you want it to look cool. You've got important safety criteria. There's a whole range of things that you need, to when you're carrying stuff in a pickup. But when you're putting something in a trailer or an autonomous pod, it is much simpler. You have the drivetrain of the trailer. You have the battery pack of the trailer. And this is important for Tesla in a couple of reasons. Because Tesla is moving by demand and will move towards tow packages in its vehicles. By not controlling its trailers, most of those trailers could be overloaded, for example. This puts a warranty question, like, because how do you know? I mean, most trailers don't have a scale. Why not? The Tesla trailer can have a digital scale to know exactly how much it weighs and how much the weight of the load is. Can have two scales to understand how it should be properly balanced and how it actually is properly balanced. It can have all of the sensor operations of the car without needing, unless it's left to be a pod as opposed to a trailer, it doesn't need the computer. If it's an autonomous pod, only the leading pod needs the computer. Everything else can be in an echo follow mode, tying in, plugging in, feeding sensor information back to the computer. So, which brings me to my next point. You have a self-inserting tongue, of the trailer into the vehicle, and this makes the digital connection with the Tesla car to feed new safety and sensor information into the car, but also to control and synchronize the tires, the motors of the trailer with the vehicle. Now, this protects the motors and the drivetrain of the vehicle, as well as adding safety, because when you can link and you have the regenerative braking, etc., in the trailer as well, this makes it much easier on the vehicle. It makes it much easier on the trailer as well. It also allows you to go over the 5,000-pound load capacity even on an X, or the 2,000-pound load capacity in the Model 3 trailer hitch, because you're not creating as much strain between the trailer and the car. In short, there is an explosion of value with a 10X trailer design that is self-propelled, that can self-connect and disconnect from the leading vehicle, that with its own computer chip and a third wheel that drops down for steering purposes, can keep itself balanced and navigate autonomously from one location to another. And this can be done so cheaply. I think that with the robotic element of synergy, that we could see top of the line, 10 times better than any trailer on the market, Tesla trailers in the $7,000 to $12,000 range that would have if wanted, 2 to 4 times the size capacity of a pickup at, of course, a fraction of the cost. You also, of course, have the ability to share a trailer in a neighborhood, in a community, to have a sharing app, and this is already being developed for the Model 3. But with fast and cheap, the biggest segment of the market is the autonomous delivery of materials, supplies, and goods. The biggest segment in the market over the next 20 years is the autonomous delivery of a variety of goods. So before that segment gets going, before we have autonomous deliveries, we're going to have millions of miles of these semi-autonomous and trailers. So if Tesla jumps the gun and is the first one to offer self-propelling, GPS guiding, self-connecting, computer-controlled, people-less trailers, it will be able to make the transition between the partnering trailers that are guided by the car's computer to the fully autonomous trailers that are guided solely by the trailer itself, faster than any other company, because it will require regulatory approval. Regulatory approval requires evidence. What better way than to have something that Tesla can stamp out in an hour? What better way than to serve the existing clients. All the people that have purchased the vehicles can instantly have their value doubled without having to, a little car, a Model 3, and a pickup. That's the dilemma I'm in right now. Huge amounts of energy being saved and really cheap compared to any other thing and just leave it at home most of the time, if you're a typical homeowner. So you might want to watch the other segment in which I talk about kind of linking these with Boring Company convoys, for transportation, because these, of course, that would be another way around the regulatory thing, is to have these go underground, because they're off the main streets. But we're going to have a segment of fully autonomous electric transportation of the vast majority of things which are not people. And I think that's the market to capture.